under $200 in raw materials, up to 3 times the structural strength building codes demand. $0 to heat a home forever. This building method has kept towers standing through 5 centuries of bombardment. Yet 3 deliberate regulatory decisions and an $18 billion industry buried it from the American housing market. The proof of what they sidelined begins in one of the oldest skylines on Earth. In the heart of Yemen's Hadramaut, a skyline rises from the desert that has defied centuries of war, earthquakes, and climate extremes. The city of Shibam, often called the Manhattan of the desert, stands as proof of what sun-dried Earth can do. Its mud brick towers, some over 100 feet tall, have endured more than 500 years of siege and flood. UNESCO's engineering surveys document these structures withstanding seismic shocks and monsoon rains that have toppled modern concrete. The secret lies in the chemistry, a simple mix of roughly 70 to 80% clay-rich soil, sand, and straw, pressed into blocks and left to harden under the sun. The economics are just as stark. For a typical adobe home, the raw ingredients, clay, sand, and straw, come together at a cost of about 3 cents per brick. A 1,500 square foot house demands between 4,000 and 6,000 bricks, putting the total material bill between $120 and $180. Even when labor is factored in, owner-builders routinely report building entire shells for less than $300. Compare that to the $10,000 to $24,000 cost just to frame a house with lumber in the US, not counting insulation, drywall, or siding. The material that built Shibam's towers is not just cheap, it's strong. Laboratory tests of traditional adobe mixes consistently show compression strengths between 200 and 600 pounds per square inch. That's well above the 175 pounds per square inch minimum set by the International Residential Code for load-bearing masonry. The dirt under your feet, if mixed right, can meet or exceed the same structural standards demanded of modern brick and block. But the story doesn't end with cost and strength. Adobe's environmental footprint is almost vanishingly small. Firing a single conventional clay brick in a kiln consumes about 30,000 BTU of energy. Drying an adobe brick in the sun takes only 2,000 BTU, a 15-fold reduction. In wall after wall, the embodied energy of adobe is a tiny fraction of what's locked into fired brick or even wood studs. This is not a fringe experiment. The United Nations estimates that up to 2 billion people worldwide live in earthen structures. The evidence is global, the numbers are irrefutable, and the physics are simple. For the price of a few bags of groceries, and with a recipe as old as civilization, it is possible to build a home that stands up to code, resists disaster, and outlasts modern alternatives by centuries. Yet in the United States, this method is all but invisible in building codes and mortgage markets. The question is not whether adobe works, but why. With numbers like these, it was pushed to the margins. Adobe walls do something no modern insulation can match. In a 2018 University of Arizona field test, 18 to 24-inch thick adobe walls held off the desert heat with an 8 to 12-hour delay. When the sun scorched the outside to 110 degrees, the interior stayed cool until nightfall, long after peak heat had passed. The test house ran for 10 months without a single hour of mechanical cooling, while a neighboring wood frame home cycled its air conditioner every day. This is the physics of thermal mass in action. Dense earthen walls soak up heat during the day, then release it gently after dark, flattening temperature swings and erasing the need for conventional HVAC in the Southwest and parts of the Midwest. Heat flow diagrams from the study show outdoor temperature spikes hitting a solid adobe wall at noon, but the interior barely budges until midnight. That's not just comfort, it's a permanent cut to the energy bill year after year. The story doesn't end with free cooling. Adobe's solid monolithic structure eliminates the hidden cavities where moisture breeds mold, a problem that plagues nearly half of American homes. According to the EPA, about 45% of United States houses show signs of mold, most of it growing unseen inside wood frame walls. Adobe offers nowhere for moisture to hide. When rain or humidity strike, the wall's surface dries out naturally, and the dense clay matrix resists both water and fungal growth. Long-term field studies in New Mexico and Texas have documented Adobe homes with zero mold detection, even after decades of exposure. The result? Cleaner air, fewer allergens, and a house that quietly protects its occupants from the invisible health risks baked into standard construction. These are not fringe results. Peer-reviewed studies and real-world monitoring agree. Adobe delivers a unique combination of thermal inertia and indoor air quality that modern building codes barely acknowledge. The evidence is clear, the physics are proven, and the health advantage is measurable. Yet despite this mountain of data, Adobe remains sidelined, its superior performance ignored by the very codes and policies that claim to protect homeowners. The question is no longer whether Adobe works, but why a material that can erase energy bills and mold risk is still treated as an outlaw in the American building system. In 1927, the Uniform Building Code was drafted with a glaring omission. It simply ignored earthen construction. No standards, no guidelines, just silence. For anyone hoping to build with Adobe, that meant one thing: legal limbo. Municipalities unsure how to proceed demanded engineer-stamped approvals that could cost anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 before a single brick was laid. The upfront savings of Adobe, measured in pennies per brick, were wiped out by a bureaucratic toll gate, one that didn't exist for wood frame builders. The barriers didn't stop there. In 1949, the Federal Housing Administration issued a mortgage requirement that locked out alternative construction. The rule was simple: no loan unless the house used conventional framing. For millions of Americans, that meant no FHA-backed mortgage for Adobe. A home that could be built for less than the down payment on a tract house was suddenly out of financial reach unless you had cash in hand. Then, in 1970, the Portland Cement Association stepped in. Lobbyists pushed for a new mandate. Any earth wall system had to include Portland cement and steel reinforcement. The result was a code amendment that multiplied the cost of Adobe construction 3 to 5-fold. The PCA, already reporting $18 billion in annual cement revenue, had a direct financial stake in cement's dominance. The new rules didn't just raise costs, they changed the very nature of Adobe, stripping away its low-carbon, low-cost advantage, and making it dependent on an industry with everything to gain. These engineered barriers weren't the result of structural failure or public safety disasters. They were the product of regulatory choices, mortgage policies, and industry lobbying. The economic injustice is plain. A building method proven for centuries, priced within reach of the poor, was sidelined not by physics, but by policy and profit. In the American Southwest, a quiet revolution has unfolded around a single legal phrase: the owner-builder exemption. Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona all maintain statutes that let individuals construct their own homes with alternative materials, sidestepping the labyrinth of code requirements and engineering fees that shut out Adobe elsewhere. These exemptions are not theoretical. They have been tested, scaled, and proven by people like Simone Swan. Since 2008, Swan has guided families earning as little as $8,000 to $12,000 a year through the process of building their own Adobe homes under Texas's owner-builder law. The results are hard to ignore. More than 600 houses, each completed for as little as $1,500 in materials and 6 weeks of labor. The walls are thick, sun-dried Adobe, no hidden cavities, no synthetic insulation, no cement mandates. Utility records from these projects show annual heating costs that round to zero. The thermal mass of 18 to 24-inch walls, proven in field studies, delivers stable indoor temperatures through the harshest Texas winters and summers alike. Families who once faced a lifetime of mortgage payments now live in homes they own outright, free of debt and utility bills. The legal path is clear. Texas Government Code Section 2254.009, mirrored in New Mexico and Arizona statutes, gives owner-builders the right to use Adobe without a licensed contractor or engineer. Local permitting offices in Hudspeth and Presidio counties routinely process applications for earth-built homes, provided the owner signs an affidavit and meets basic site safety checks. This loophole, written into law, has quietly enabled thousands of Americans to build shelter with their own hands for a fraction of the cost of conventional housing. The scale is not small. Swan Earthworks alone has helped more than 600 families, and community workshops continue to spread the know-how. The global context is even starker. Up to 2 billion people live in earth structures, and in the U.S., owner-builder exemptions account for 5,000 to 10,000 Adobe projects every year. The evidence is in the ground, in the utility bills, and in the deeds held free and clear. The system may have buried Adobe in the code books, but the loophole remains wide open for anyone willing to claim it. Right now, a 1,500 square foot Adobe home can cost less than an average monthly rent and lock in zero heating bills for life. Yet outdated codes and mortgage bans still block this path. When affordability meets climate crisis, the real barrier isn't technology, it's permission. What's stopping us?